What's up, people? Pizzal here, and today I want to talk to you guys about the new Severin Films Blu-ray release for 1979's Beyond the Darkness, directed by the infamous Joe D'Amato. Now, this is going to be partially a review of the film as well as a review of this Blu-ray release. And prior to watching Beyond the Darkness on this Blu-ray release, I'd never seen the film. I was aware of its reputation as well as the reputation of its director Joe D'Amato, who, if you look up on IMDb, you'll see he has about 200 credits to his name, or to his many names. A lot of them schlock, a lot of them sleaze, a lot of them pornography. Now, the reputation of Beyond the Darkness is one of an extremely over-the-top, ultra-violent, ultra-gory, ultra-sleazy shocker that some have even gone so far as to call the most disgusting horror film ever made. What I'm trying to say is, I'm shocked I've not seen this movie already. I'm shocked that I did not go out of my way to pick up this movie in some form years and years ago and sit down and watch. And actually, I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because this Blu-ray release from Severin was a great way to introduce myself to the film. Now, as for Beyond the Darkness, there's no way I can summarize it in a simple 2 or even 3 sentence plot synopsis. However, I went on IMDb, and there's a user on IMDb who gave this film the plot synopsis of all plot synopses and absolutely hit the nail on the head when it comes to Beyond the Darkness, and I'm going to read that user's plot synopsis right now. This is from a gentleman by the name of Ed Sutton, and I quote, "A young rich orphan loses his fiancée to voodoo doll mischief on the part of his housekeeper, who is jealous of his attentions. He digs his girlfriend up, cleans her out, stuffs her, and puts her in bed at the mansion. Following this, he tries out and disposes of a series of young maidens, trying to find the right replacement for her, and the disapproving housekeeper helps him with the disposals." Kudos, Mr. Sutton. And now, Beyond the Darkness definitely lives up to its reputation of being an extreme, over-the-top, ultra-graphic, ultra-gory, ultra-violent, ultra-sleazy movie. We've got a very graphic dissection sequence in the film in which they use real organs, I'm guessing from animals. We've got a dismemberment in which the body parts are thrown into a bathtub of acid, and then the dissolved remnants of those body parts are carried out in a bucket and poured into a hole in the ground, and the contents of the bucket, the slurry that this acid has produced from the dismembered body parts just goes beyond description. It's this chunky, We've also got a couple of sequences of cannibalism in the film. One in particular takes place during the dissection sequence, in which the grieving boyfriend, after he's removed his lover's heart, he bites into it, and it reminded me of when you put a straw in a juice box and you squeeze the juice box too hard and the juice just shoots out everywhere. It kind of reminded me of that. Now, what I think is really interesting about Beyond the Darkness is that once you've peeled away all the layers of gratuity and excess, at the core of the movie is really a story of love and obsession. You've got a guy who's so in love with a woman that he can't let her go even after she's died. You have obsession on the part of the housekeeper who's so in love with this guy that she'll go so far as to help him cover up murders he's committed and even dispose of the bodies. And this whole love and obsession dynamic really resonates thanks to the strong performances in the film. And I have to say, it resonated so well that I found that dynamic just as shocking as some of the shock elements in the film, to be perfectly honest. From a technical point of view, Beyond the Darkness looks fantastic. It's beautifully photographed. The score from Goblin is fantastic. The pacing is spot on. It's just overall a really well-made movie. Beyond the Darkness definitely is not a movie for everybody. Yes, it's over the top. Yes, it's gratuitous. Yes, it's violent. Yes, it's pretty darn disgusting, but I found it really compelling. The performances are really good. The movie looks fantastic. The score is great. I just really found myself captivated with Beyond the Darkness because of its excessively violent and graphic and sleazy qualities, and because I found a pretty compelling story of love and obsession once I was able to peel away all the excesses, let's just say. If you've not seen Beyond the Darkness, this Blu-ray would be a great way to introduce yourself to the film. If you're a fan of Beyond the Darkness, you definitely want to look into this Blu-ray from Severin Films and add it to your collection. This is the uncut version of the film, newly restored, and it includes the soundtrack CD from Goblin. As far as picture quality and sound quality are concerned, I thought they both were very good. As far as extras, first up we have got Joe D'Amato, The Horror Experience. It is over 1 hour in length. This is a full-on career retrospective of Joe D'Amato. It includes interviews with director Joe D'Amato, Luigi Montefiore, Donald O'Brien, and Al Cliver. Mr. D'Amato discusses his first horror film entitled Death Smiles on a Murderer and how happy he was with how that film turned out. He discusses working with Klaus Kinski, who he calls a mercenary and a madman, but that it was a pleasure working with him. D'Amato discusses his love of both erotic and horror films because he likes to shock the audience. D'Amato recalls a legal matter in which an actress in one of his films claims she'd been traumatized by her character being tortured to such an extent that it caused, I'm assuming, PTSD, because the sequence was so realistic. D'Amato discusses bringing his love of erotic and horror films together with the aptly titled Porno Holocaust and Erotic Nights of the Living Dead. I've got to check out those movies. Mr. D'Amato discusses Anthropophagus and the infamous fetus sequence from that film. He discusses working with people like Linda Blair, David Hasselhoff, Lucio Fulci, and Umberto Lenzi. He also discusses his sort of cult status among horror fans and how he attended a convention in New Jersey and was shocked that people would come up to him and pay him money for his autograph. Now, Mr. D'Amato passed away in 2009. May rest in peace, but this is a very, very nice, pretty detailed career retrospective for the late Joe D'Amato. Very, very nice. Next up, we have got The Omega Woman, an interview with actress Franca Stoppi. It's about 15 minutes and 41 seconds in length. She discusses first meeting Joe D'Amato at a party and soon thereafter getting cast in Beyond the Darkness. She recalls being close with her co-star in the film and even dating him after they concluded shooting. She discusses the effects in the movie, saying that the blood was fake, but the guts were real. She recalls D'Amato saying that with Beyond the Darkness, he wanted to make the audience puke. Next up, we've got Goblin Reborn performed via Omega live from 2016, a live performance from Goblin. It's pretty cool. Next up, we've got Locations Revisited, a tour of the shooting locations for Beyond the Darkness. It's just over 20 minutes in length. And lastly, we have Sick Love, an interview with actress Cynthia Monreal. It's about 8 minutes and 47 seconds in length. Miss Monreal discusses Joe D'Amato being a very passionate and professional filmmaker. She describes her experience working on Beyond the Darkness as being a very pleasant one. She discusses getting along well with her co-stars. She discusses not being disgusted at all by the film, but having a great time making it. And she very much considers Beyond the Darkness being a love story, as do I. A brief but very nice interview with Miss Monreal. This is a very nice Blu-ray release from the folks over at Severin Films. I'll put a link to their website down in the description. Go over and check them out. If you've seen Beyond the Darkness, please let me know what you think of it down in the comment section below. If you have any other favorite Joe D'Amato movies you'd like to share with me, please do so down in the comments section below. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. They're also right around here. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.